Am I the a-hole for not stepping aside on the hiking trail? I went with my family, 2 adults, 2 kids, on a camping trip this past Labor Day weekend. We were walking on a trail and spotted a large group, about 6 people, headed towards us. We got in a single file line while the party coming towards us was walking 3 across on the trail. We still had to step aside off the trail to avoid walking into each other. The other party didn't step to the side at all. I thought it was extremely rude and told my husband I couldn't stand it when people had no trail etiquette. After doing some swimming, we were headed back to our campsite when we saw the same group walking towards us from the other direction. We got in single file again, except this time, I told myself I wasn't moving off the trail for these people. As we approached, they carried on their conversation acting like they didn't see us and one of the men ran into me. He said, "Hey, be careful." I said, "Excuse me? You shouldn't be walking so spread out on the trail. It's rude expecting someone to move for you." He then asked me if I was calling his family rude, and my husband just grabbed my arm and told me to leave it. We just walked away. My husband said I shouldn't have started anything, I should have just moved over like I did before and avoided a confrontation. I was pissed that they acted like they own the trail. Am I the asshole for not moving? Am I the a-hole for telling my brother I don't agree with the lengths he's going to while correcting his son? My 30M brother, 40M, has 4 kids. His oldest son is Sam, 15M. Sam's from my brother's first marriage. When Sam was 6 his mom was diagnosed with terminal cancer and she died a year later. My brother met his second wife when Sam was 8 and married her when Sam was 9. They have 3 children together now ages 5, 3 and 18 months. Sam has always called his younger siblings his half-siblings and this has always bothered my brother and Sil. They have corrected him repeatedly, taken him to therapy, individual and family, and have continued therapy for almost 6 years. It started while Sil was pregnant and Sam was saying baby was a half-sibling not just a sibling. They have changed therapists every few months when they don't like the progress being made. While doing all this they continue to correct Sam every time and my brother has told Sam's friends that Sam is wrong and he is siblings, not half-siblings. For the last year my brother has our parents and our sisters correcting Sam every time they hear him say half-siblings or half-sister/half-brother. I was told I should correct him too. But I have not. It has been a discussion and I have said it does not feel right to gang up on him and try to harass him into submission on this topic. They tell me Sam clearly isn't willing to work with a therapist to get to a point where the half doesn't matter so there's nothing wrong with nudging him along with correcting him. My brother has been on my ass for the last couple of months about my lack of effort to correct Sam. He has told me that my 5-year-old niece has started to question why her brother, Sam, is cold and why he always says they're half-siblings. He said she has already asked him if Sam loves her or if she did something wrong. So why would I not try to save her the heartache and get Sam on board with loving his siblings and dropping the half? I told him I don't agree with the lengths he's going to. I said after nearly 6 years if nothing has changed does he really want to break his son to get what he wants? I also asked him why it bothers him so much when his own best friend refers to his half-siblings as half, and he has never batted an eye at that. I told him he might wish things were perfect and that Sam adapted to everything perfectly but he lives in this reality and not in that dream. My brother ignored the rest of what I said and called me out for not agreeing with the lengths. He said that as a parent he has to go to whatever lengths it takes to protect his kids and to make sure they turn out to be good people. He said right now Sam is turning into someone he doesn't like and is turning into a real asshole and fuck me for judging him on his parenting. I have no right to say this to him and I do not understand the difficulty of moving on and trying to bring your kid with you after loss. Am I the a-hole? It's very hydrating. This has been bugging me for a few days. Went to dinner with my wife recently to a relatively nice place, $30 $45 pp mains. Quick side note, we're both in our 30s and both work in hospitality and worked in kitchens for years, so we're generally on our best behavior at restaurants. Anyway, we sit down and are greeted by a young woman, early 20s, who drops some menus and asks if we want to start with still or sparkling water. I looked at the drink menu and saw the still was $9 and the sparkling was $12. Neither of us care that much about fancy water, so I said tap is fine. She gave a sort of grimace and a small noise. I asked is there something wrong with the tap water? She replied it's very hydrating. Followed by an awkward silence. This was very strange to me so I essentially repeated the question with slightly different verbiage and once again got it's very hydrating. I looked at her with an expression of please explain. More silence. Eventually I asked what does that mean? She said, with no emotion, it will hydrate you. Now I'm feeling weird about the whole situation. And I flat out asked, with no expression or connotation, what's wrong with the tap water? You guessed it. It's very hydrating. I stood up and told my wife we're going. Before my wife even realized what was going on, the waitress said have a blessed day with the smuggest smile I've ever seen. Am I in La La Land here? The triplicated response seems really dumb for someone who is a professional at hospitality. Anyway, my wife suggested I took it too far by leaving. In my opinion, I didn't take it far enough and should have spoke to a manager. But life's short and I didn't. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my autistic cousin at my child-free wedding? Next spring, I am getting married to the love of my life. We have decided that we don't want children at our wedding. Not many of our friends and family have young children, and the ones that do are fine with getting a sitter for the weekend since we gave them a lot of notice. The only ones to put up a fight are my aunt and uncle who have a daughter with autism. She is 20, but will be 21 by the time my wedding day comes around. She is what they call high-functioning, which means she can talk and wash/dress herself, and she has some friends. She graduated from high school a couple years ago and is currently living with her parents, my aunt and uncle, while working at a grocery store. Despite her being technically an adult, I just don't see her as such. Every time I talk to her at a family gathering, it's like talking to a child. She is obsessed with toy ponies and Barbie dolls, and brings them up at every opportunity. She draws in her notebook constantly and never makes eye contact when talking to me. She does not have loud meltdowns like other special needs kids I've met before, but I really don't want to risk her ruining my special day. I told my aunt and uncle that I didn't want her there and they became very upset. They said she already saw the invite and knew it was child-free, but because she is an adult, she thought she was still included. My aunt tried to guilt me by saying she'd already picked out a dress and a gift, but I didn't want to hear it. My fiancé says I'm being in a hole and we should let her attend because she has attended other weddings before with no issue. Everyone is making me feel horrible for not treating her like an adult when she doesn't act like one. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife I don't care about her dreams? My wife wants to be an influencer on TikTok and YouTube. She has been creating mommy content and content about her day-to-day life. When she told me this is something she wanted to do, I didn't have a problem with. I only said that I don't want our children, 4M, 2F, in any of her content. I didn't monitor her channel because it didn't really seem necessary. I recently watched her channel because I thought it'd be cute, so see what she does in her day-to-day life. I found our children faces in almost all of her content. I told her straight up she needs to remove all of her content. She said that she knew I wouldn't agree, but she doesn't think this is a big deal. I don't like children content. I feel like a lot of the time when you see the children make profit, they become less of your kids and more of a product, and your interactions become more performative, and I can see the same thing has happened in her because she posted a video of her getting our 2-year-old out of a tantrum and how she deals with it. But how is your first instinct to record and hold a camera whilst our baby is crying? She started crying saying that she built this up and this is her dream and deleting her content will ruin it, and I said I simply don't give a fuck. If you don't delete it, I will consider a divorce. I know a lot of people have children on their social media and I don't mind an Instagram or Facebook post, but to make videos seem too intimate to share. She told her friends and even hinted on her social media accounts that she has an over-controlling and narcissistic husband that doesn't want her on social media. I'm currently being ridiculed by her friends. Am I being over-controlling or narcissistic?